3, 2, 1. We are live. Coming to you live as Lichtman Live. Say what's up to the people, Dad.
Hey, welcome to a special edition of Lichtman Live. You know, we've periodically on important elections given you live election night coverage.
Yep.
And that's what we're doing here. For the first time, however, giving you coverage of a single congressional district.
Right.
The one you see right up there, the 7th Congressional District in the state of Tennessee that touches upon the city of Nashville, but is overwhelmingly in more rural areas to the west of the city. Why does this election in Tennessee 7, the special election, matter?
Tell me, Dad.
First of all, it is the last special election of 2025 before we get into the midterm election year of 2026. So it does have some significance in that regard. Secondly, as we know, Democrats have been way overperforming so far in the off-year elections of 2025. And the 7th Congressional District in Tennessee is a deep red district. Trump won it by 22 points.
What?
22 points. The governor in 2022 won it by about 20 points. This should be a absolute slam dunk district for Republicans.
But
The polls show, while the Republican is certainly likely to win, it's vastly closer than anyone earlier in this year could possibly have expected. And Republicans are worried.
Right.
Not just whether there could be an upset, but they're worried about the Democrat candidate, Behn, coming close. They don't want to go into the election year with the headline being Republicans barely hold on to solid red district. Once again, Democrats outperforming expectations. That's why Republican big guns, including Donald Trump himself, have weighed in on this election. That's why they've spent a lot of money on what should have been an election they didn't have to pay any attention to. And that's also why prominent Democrats, including, I believe, Kamala Harris making her first campaign appearance, along with former Vice President Al Gore, and the Democrats pouring money into this. So this is, certainly in many ways the most significant off-year special midterm election that we've seen in some time. And the issue is not whether the Democrat will win. That's extremely unlikely, although not impossible. But the issue will be how much can the Democrat overperform expectations? If she comes even within 5 points, that'll be the big story.
Definitely. The most recent poll by Emerson College, my grad school alumni, or previous school, thank you to George for your donation. They had Behn behind by 2 points. Now, if you look at the prediction markets, like a place like Kalshi, the prediction markets really think the Republican candidate Matt Van Epps is going to win. Right now, he has a 91% chance to win based off the Kalshi prediction market.
That's probably right.
I think Behn has a better chance than 10%, personally.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But, whether it's 10 or 20, in the scheme of things, doesn't matter that much.
Sure. It's
it may
either
matter
a win.
for making money on the prediction market, but in the real world, she's still an overwhelming underdog.
I get that. Let's actually hear from Kalshi, our sponsor of tonight's election night coverage.
Wow.
Thank you to Kalshi. Here we go.
I've made a career out of analyzing American elections, but now you can actually trade on your political insights with today's video partner, Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest legal prediction market in the United States, regulated by the CFTC and available in all 50 states. And it gives the power of prediction not to the pundits or the pollsters, but to the people. Let me show you. Right now, There's a live Kalshi market for which party will win the U.S. House next year. The contract is for the Democratic Party, trading at 71 cents, which means the market gives Democrats a 71% chance of winning control. And honestly, I think that's about right. Given the structural advantages Democrats have in this cycle and the public backlash to recent policy shifts, 71% is a fair estimate. If you disagree with the crowd or think you're better informed, you can trade either side. Here's how it works. Everyone has that one topic they talk about for days. Maybe it's finance, politics, sports, or global trends. You know the patterns, and Kalshi gives you the chance to actually put that knowledge to work. Because when you trade correctly, you're rewarded for being right. With Kalshi, it's trading on what you know. As you can see, a contract at 71 cents means the market sees a chance of 71% of that outcome. If you're right, that contract pays out $1. So trading $100 at 71 cents would return about $141. But if you trade at 30 cents and the underdog wins, you'd more than triple your money. Kalshi facilitates trades between people, just like the stock market. These are real money markets, and you can build a position and trade in and out over time. In fact, Kalshi has over 1 million users, and they've already processed more than $2 billion in trades. And here's something unique. Kalshi pays you interest on your positions. So if you take a long-term view, your capital earns a return even before the market resolves. Because at the end of the day, Kalshi is for people who look at headlines and think, I could have called that. If you think you can call what's next, go to trykalshi.com/Allan Lichtman. It's also pinned in the comments. Kalshi will give you $20 when you sign up and trade $100. Again, that's trykalshi.com/Allan Lichtman. Predict what's next and trade what you know.
All right. Thank you to Kalshi. Actually, I was just looking at the margin of victory on Kalshi, and it looks like most people think that Van Epps is going to win by 5 to 9 points. I don't personally. I think this is a more likely scenario, Van Epps to win by less than 5, because yes, it's a huge red district, but the polling is showing, and again, polling is very flawed, but the polling
particularly in the Congressional District.
Right. But
small sample.
But the polling is showing that she's neck and neck with this guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You think it's going to be 5 to 10? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, probably.
All right.
But I don't know.
Oh.
We're all just guessing here. And you can see the market's all over the place.
Yeah.
There's no one bet that's at 50% even.
Right. I'm seeing in the chat, obviously, our chat leans a little bit more blue, but I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat saying that Ben has got this. People think that Ben is not only...
my gut is telling me she's going to win.
My gut is telling me that too. I don't know why.
But,
Oh, we're already getting results in. Only 3%. Van Epps is way ahead. But, again, only 3% in, and they're all from these
the deep red areas.
Rural counties.
Yeah.
What were you about to say?
I'd like to say a word about something else while we're waiting for results to come in.
Go ahead.
And that's this whole issue of launching a second strike against one of the boats, alleged drug trafficking, alleged gang members, no proof. A second strike when the boat is not sunk, and there are 2 survivors clinging to the side of the boat. And the story keeps changing. Imagine that, Sam. No. First, it was all a fabrication. No such thing about a second strike that killed these 2 survivors. And oops, yes, we have to admit there was a second strike. But it wasn't something that Hegseth ordered. Rather, it was the responsibility of the military commander, Admiral Bradley. Now we're even hearing Hegseth wasn't even in the room when the second strike occurred, that he had left the room and certainly did not order the second strike and certainly did not order the killing of survivors. You know, Harry Truman was famous for saying, the buck stops here. But with Donald Trump and his administration, the buck stops anywhere but here. Now, this, puffed up secretary, he calls himself, of war, even though the department is officially the Department of Defense, who spent, I don't know how long, haranguing admirals and generals about, what they should be doing, who brags about the lethality of his force. Now he's running for the hills. It's Chicken Little, not the mighty warrior. And it gets worse. They keep digging. You say when you're in a hole, stop digging. Well, they keep digging. Here's what Carolyn Leavitt, the spokesperson for the Trump administration, had to say, again, throwing Admiral Bradley under the bus, blaming him entirely, which could lead him open to a charge of murder. You are not supposed to be killing helpless people. Even when you're at war, you are not authorized to kill helpless people like these two barely alive survivors clinging to the side of the boat. But, she said, Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law. Thank you, Attorney Leavitt. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to assure that the boat was destroyed, and get this, the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. They have the whole goddamn American Navy, or a good piece of it out there, including the world's most lethal aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford. And what threat to the United States of America did this disabled boat with two desperate survivors clinging to the side pose?
Tell me.
Zero. What possible threat could that have posed? And when the enemy is out of combat, helpless, poses no threat, there is no legal authority under which you can kill them. End of story. And by the way, Trump and Hegseth are talking about the former astronaut and war pilot Mark Kelly and others, saying you have a right not to obey unlawful orders. Guess who said that during the Obama administration? We had a different president.
Pete
Hegseth. We saw the exact clip. This wasn't, some lunatic reporter. This was an actual clip of Hegseth himself saying you should not have to follow unlawful orders, essentially saying the same thing that Mark Kelly and the other former veterans and former employees of the intelligence communities had to say. Exactly the same thing. But now it's sedition punishable by death. When Obama was president, it's just fine.
Quick update. We now have 9% of the vote in. Vanna Epps is at 65.9%, and Aftyn Behn is at 32%.
And again, all deep red areas.
I'm not sure about this Cheatham County. I'm not sure if this is deep red, but he's winning quite a bit. Clarksville is just coming in, and she's taking quite a big jump. Aftyn Behn is winning 51 to 48% in Montgomery County, Tennessee. She's now jumped up to within 8 points.
So what's the latest tally? 55
to 43, 20% of the vote in. We just got a big chunk of the vote in Montgomery County, where she is leading. 52% of the vote is now in Montgomery County, Tennessee. Aftyn Behn is up 51 to 48% in that county, which has gotten her much closer to Van Epps. We
don't have Nashville, though.
We don't have Nashville yet. And a lot of people point out in the chat that this district, District 7, is a heavily gerrymandered district, if you can see.
You can see how heavily gerrymandered
Here's Nashville, and look at this outline that they've done of Nashville to make it, of course, more Republican-friendly, because the state legislature in Tennessee is, guess what?
Republican. Heavily.
So this is a heavy gerrymandered district.
Look at that distorted shape, Yeah. Republicans used to be blasting Democrats, for creating distorted shaped districts to give minorities opportunities to elect candidates of their choice. Now they're doing the same thing, not to empower minorities, but to empower themselves.
Right. I don't know about this county, Williamson County, if it's red or blue. It seems like this county, Clarksville, is going blue. I don't know historically what that's done.
We don't have the numbers for Trump from 2024.
I can probably get it up on my phone. So what should I search for that? 2024 District 7 or Clark County?
District 7, probably Tennessee. CD 7.
All right, let me see if I can find something on that. 2024 District 7, Tennessee, Trump. Let's see what happens. I couldn't get anything on that. I'm gonna try Montgomery County, Tennessee.
Yeah, okay. It's gonna be
2024.
It'd be hard to get anything. While you're doing that, Trump calls Somalis garbage in anti-immigrant tirade, launches operation targeting Somali immigrants. Another example of the extreme racist commentary coming from this president.
So in 2024 in Montgomery County, Tennessee, Donald Trump won 58.3% of the vote.
So she's turned that around.
She's turned that around, which is
maybe not enough to win, but enough to certainly cut down the margin quite substantially. If she even comes within 10 points, that's going to be... She cuts his margin in half. That's still going to be a huge upset.
Yeah, for sure. She's gone down 0.7%. He's gone up plus 0.7% now with 26% of the vote in. I mean, in these red districts, he's absolutely destroying. He's at over 60 in every single one of them. This one he's close to 80%. Wayne County, which is close to the Alabama border. Let me see if I can get up some sort of 2024 Tennessee results. Why don't you? What else is on your mind, Dad?
This whole crackdown on immigrants as a result of the attack by the Afghan on the two National Guard people. First of all, Trump was warned. You put the National Guard in, they're going to be targets, just like police officers are going to be targets. A police officer is shot more than once every single day in America. There are over 40 murders every single day in America. And Trump wants to extrapolate from this one person who was legally in the United States, who had worked with Americans in Afghanistan. And what administration let him in, Sam?
Tell me.
The Trump administration. It wasn't the Biden administration, after vetting him. And he wants to use this one example. 15,000 gun murders every year in America, more than 40 gun murders a day. And he wants to take this one gun murder and generalize it to the entire immigrant population, except, of course, for white Afrikaners. You know, they're a big exception. But he's clearly talking about all non-white immigrants. And in fact, immigrants, even undocumented immigrants, have much lower rates of crime, including violent crime, than native-born Americans. Multiple studies, including one by the National Institute of Justice of the Department of Justice, show that. And guess what's happened to that study under Trump, Sam?
Tell me.
Scrubbed from the Department of Justice website. They do not want to let you see the truth. It's just extraordinary. And in terms of this immigrant sweep up by ICE, we're getting the worst of the worst. Well, I just saw the latest results. About 75% of those arrested and detained have no criminal conviction of any kind. I repeat, no criminal conviction of any kind for 3/4, and most of the rest have convictions only for minor offenses like traffic violations. A tiny proportion are actually convicted for serious violent crime. But Trump doesn't want to let you see any of this. As he said, don't believe what you read or what you see, only believe what I tell you.
So I was able to get the 2024 election map up for Nashville. So in Montgomery County, I think I already said this, he won 58.5% of the vote. Kamala Harris won 40%.
This is Nashville?
That's Montgomery County.
Oh, that's up there, yeah.
And now Aftyn Behn is up 51%.
So she's turned it around.
So she's turned it around pretty well.
Over 10 points. Probably not enough.
Cheatham County, he's at 60%, and Cheatham County, Donald Trump was at 72%.
So it sounds like...
So she's definitely made up quite a bit of ground.
Right. May not be enough, but it's going to cut at least in half, maybe more, the Trump margin.
Now, remember, we haven't gotten a single vote in from Nashville yet.
And what happened in Nashville in
2024? Harris won 62.7% of the vote.
And how many votes?
She got 181,000 votes versus Donald Trump, 35.3% at 102,000 votes.
And what's the margin right now in terms of numbers?
He's at 24,000. She's at 17,000.
Nashville could turn it all around.
Really?
She still has I'd say an outside shot to win, a sure shot to cut Trump's margin. 100%.
So according to this New York Times estimate, 26% of the estimated vote total has been turned in. Who might benefit from the remaining votes? They're saying 57% to Van Epps, 41% to Behn. That's the projection from the New York Times right now.
Right.
If that's the case, she's definitely going to lose.
Yeah, I think she's definitely going to lose, but I think she will cut into the margin.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't know where they get that 57-41 from.
So
Since Nashville is so heavily Democratic, and there's zero in from Nashville, right?
Right.
I don't understand that.
I don't quite understand that either. And here it says their estimated margin of remaining votes. You can see the biggest circle is still Nashville, and it's a big blue circle.
By far.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't necessarily.
I mean, that would say, go back up to where that would say nothing changes, even with Nashville coming in. That makes no sense.
So you're saying that projection you think is incorrect?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think they're incorrect.
We haven't gotten an update in a couple of minutes. We're still at 26% of the vote in. He has 24,000 votes. Should
we take 17. Some questions?
Yeah, I'll throw a question your way real quick. Our first question is about the Hegseth boat killings. This is from our member Patrick Murray. They say, Hegseth is under a lot of pressure over the boat killings from both sides. Do you see him actually getting impeached?
I do not see him getting impeached. You got the ultimate toady, Mike Johnson, as the Speaker of the House, who would have to initiate such a impeachment move. And even if he did get the House to vote to impeach, there's zero chance 60% of the Senate would vote to convict. What I do think is likely is that he is going to voluntarily, quote unquote, leave. In other words, be pushed out of his position.
I doubt it. I don't think these Trump people have any shame left in their body.
It's nothing to do with shame. But remember, they have zero loyalty.
Yeah.
All that matters is he an advantage or a liability?
Yeah.
And if they think he's a liability, they will have no hesitation in booting him out.
Yeah, I hear that. But, I mean, how many folks in the Trump orbit have been a liability on paper and are still around? I mean, think about people like... I'm trying to think of people who've been around forever.
RFK Jr.
RFK Jr. I mean, he's a massive liability.
I know, but nothing like this. This is something that people can really understand. The RFK Jr. stuff gets complicated.
I don't know. People can understand. I think people understand vaccines pretty well.
Maybe.
I don't agree with
not
you.
Not like this. This is something much more dramatic. You know, he claims I've got this new science, blah, blah. You know, I'm protected. You know, there's at least a totally bogus, but at least on its surface, plausible argument. There is zero plausible argument for what happened to that boat. That's why they are throwing the admiral under the bus, because they know what happened on that boat was a crime, was indefensible, was illegal. And that's why they're finding a scapegoat like they always do. Hard to blame this one on Biden, but maybe they'll find something.
Yeah, I don't agree with you. I think that they can also, I mean, they already have done a lot of this. You know, these people are trafficking drugs that have killed thousands of Americans. This is about national security. They can come up with anything. But that might justify
the original attack. You stop the boat. It's disabled. There were 2 survivors clinging to the side. You got the might of the U.S. Navy right there. They could have picked up those survivors, as they later did. Apparently, they were so worried about what happened here, they changed their policy. They easily could have picked up those survivors and sunk the boat. They did not need to do a second strike, killing the survivors. And their first justification...
I totally agree with that, by the way. I'm not defending the strike itself. I'm just saying I don't agree that they're going to throw Hegseth out of his position.
Oh, I think they will before long, yes. And, this whole thing stinks. You know, they didn't prove that these people who were killed were cartel members, or even prove that they were carrying drugs. They might have. There was an AP investigation of one of the sinkings and the killings, and it turned out, yes, they were carrying drugs, but they were not members of a gang or a cartel. They were poor fishermen who were offered, money like they've never seen, $500 to run this boat, and they were the ones who were killed, not some, leaders of a cartel or grisly members of a gang.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'll try to reach it if I can.
Can you reach my drink?
Yeah, we've got over 4,000 people watching right now.
Wow.
Oh, now we're down to 3,600. But we've only got 551 likes.
Oh, no.
Everybody who's watching, just to give the stream a like. It really helps with the algorithm. The other night when we pushed to 1,000 likes, that video got a lot of views. So
we should get 2,000 likes tonight.
Absolutely. Let's try to get to as many likes as possible. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you know we're live. Members and donators get priority on questions, but the show is free for everybody.
Yes.
If you can't donate, if you're not a member, this is all free, so don't you worry.
We appreciate you whether you donate or join or not. But remember how cheap it is to be a member. Costs less than a milkshake for a month's membership.
Love a milkshake.
Yes, and we really depend upon the donations and the members.
We've got another question from one of our members, Obi Family. They say, "Hi, Professor. Applying your follow the money principle, what other factors do you think could be driving Donald Trump's push for regime change in Venezuela? His, quote, war on narco-terrorists justification is even more ridiculous given his intentions to pardon Juan Orlando Hernandez, a man convicted of the very things Donald Trump claims to be fighting against."
Our very smart audience member is right on the money.
Absolutely.
What Trump is doing in Venezuela and elsewhere has zero to do with stopping drugs. First of all, how many years of experience do we have? How many decades of experience do we have spending trillions of dollars in the war on drugs?
Oh my God! It's been an utter and complete
5,
failure.
6, who knows how many decades? I trace it back to the 1920s. And what good has it done, Sam?
Not much of anything.
Not much. As long as Americans desperately want these drugs, they will be supplied. You think the cartels give a damn that some poor fisherman is killed in one of these little speedboats in the Caribbean? Of course not.
This has to be due to oil. It has to be.
Of course it's due to oil. Yeah. Follow the money. I was going to give 3 answers. Oil, oil, oil. And, this pardon of Hernandez, one of the most notorious drug runners ever had, who, according to press reports, flooded the United States with cocaine. I think he got a 45-year sentence. He is vastly more culpable than every one of those persons killed on those small boats in trafficking drugs into the United States. But he's a well-connected right-wing ally of Donald Trump, and he gets pardoned, and the poor schmoes on the boats get murdered, or at least killed. I don't want to claim they were murdered. I'm not a lawyer, but I do think the two survivors were. But, whether everyone was murdered, that's a question for the international lawyers.
This is from Bryce. After the shooting of 2 National Guard troops in D.C., is it possible that Donald Trump could push a whole lot of Americans to follow somebody who's crazier and dangerous and more dangerous than him and start an armed rebellion against the government, just like in Cuba? Because history does repeat itself.
Yeah, we have all kinds of guidelines, guardrails that certainly were not present in Cuba. And in Cuba, they overturned a horrible dictator, Batista. So I don't see that kind of scenario playing out here.
Gotcha.
Boy, the results are slow.
Yeah,
We've been stuck at 42,000 for some time.
Yeah, I will let you guys know when these results come in. I'm posing these questions because nothing's happening in this race right now.
I mean, the Times may be right. They have much more information than we do.
Yeah.
But I can't believe that with Nashville out and having, a couple 100,000 votes or more, that the remaining votes favor Van Epps 57-41. That just does not seem right, does it, Sam?
No. Oh, wow. We're already at 1,000 likes. Let's see if we get to 2,000
Let's get to 2,000.
Let's get to 2,000 likes. Yeah, I'm going to keep posing questions to him. Remember, if you're a member, we have your question here. If you feel like donating and getting a question on air, that's an option for you too. I'll pose another question to you while we wait for results, but I'll let you
I'm
all,
ready. I'm
I'll let
always
you all
ready.
know when more votes
and
come in.
I'm always happy to answer questions from our terrific audience.
This is from Dave. Remember Dave. They say, Trump's actions seemed tied to Reagan's notions of government. Do you see the tide? I'm not exactly sure what they're saying.
I'm not sure what that means, but the parallel that I see here is with the Reagan doctrine. Do you know what the Reagan doctrine was?
Tell me.
Reagan doctrine was, we will support any government or any movement, no matter how inhumane, no matter how anti-democratic, like the Contras in Nicaragua, or dictatorships, bloody dictatorships in Latin America, Africa, and Asia, so long as they're anti-communist. Doesn't matter what they do. And we see that same kind of self-justifying behavior. Less justified, actually. Much more justified under Reagan, although I think the policy was misguided. Still nothing from Nashville, huh?
Still have no results from Nashville. The Montgomery County results haven't changed yet. Still 42,000 votes.
What percentage of Montgomery County's in?
52% of the vote from Montgomery County is in.
And how about some of those red areas?
This one is Stewart County is 53, 48, 43, 56, 49, 47, 50, 56, 49, 59.
So they're all way ahead of the 28% that's
yes,
in.
They're all way ahead of
and yet
the total.
somehow the New York Times claims she's not going to gain any ground.
That's all I can tell you is who might benefit from the remaining votes. As more ballots are counted, our forecast will update its estimate of the remaining votes for each candidate. Right now, the New York Times estimate is 57% of the remaining votes to Van Epps, 41% to Behn.
Yeah, they may know something we don't know. We only have limited information. But given that all of the red counties are above the average to this point, right?
Yeah, they're all, the lowest one is 43%.
Yeah, and only 28% are in, and there's 0 from Nashville, which has more votes than all of those counties put together. I don't understand where the New York Times is coming from.
Well, let's hope you're right.
How many red counties are not in? I see Davidson, Robertson.
Let's look at the map. There are there are 3 counties that are not in, and I think the only one that Nashville is Davidson. So Robertson and Williamson are both red counties, I believe. I mean, I can double check that. Yeah, Williamson went 65% to Trump. Robertson went 75% to Trump.
Well, maybe that's why they're making that.
You think so?
Projection, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
those are counties with a good bit of votes.
Yeah, about what 30
How many
plus
votes?
thousand in Robertson.
How many votes in these counties?
Robertson, it looks like he had 26,000. She had 8,000. So 32.
But you can't go with that because it's going to be much lower.
Oh well, I don't know. Nothing's in from those.
They don't tell you how many votes they were in. I thought they did.
Votes. There's nothing in from those counties.
But not even the total number of votes.
Let me see.
Go down.
Here. 15,000 in Robertson. It's projecting, and 28,000 in Williamson.
And how many in Nashville?
Nashville, 38,000.
Yeah. So
we just got more results in. Nashville is 55% of the vote is in Nashville. She's at 85%, and she's jumped ahead in the race.
What?
I'm just telling you what just happened. Aftyn Behn has now jumped ahead in the race.
What?
Nashville came in.
How much of Nashville is in?
55% of the vote is in from Nashville.
And she's doing way better than
Harris. She's
Harris.
at 85% of the vote. He's at 15% of the vote. She's now ahead by 8 points in the race.
Gee.
That's a huge jump.
And
now,
what total percentage of the votes are in?
Harris got 62% of the vote in Nashville.
Wow. So she's like 23% better.
Wow, folks.
I still don't get what the New York Times did there.
Let's see if it's updated. Now their forecast has totally switched.
Wow.
Now they're saying 55% of the remaining vote towards Ben, 43% of the remaining votes towards
Total
Epps.
switch.
Total switch.
Who was right?
Wow, Allan Lichtman was right again.
Right again. New York Times was wrong.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
So now if they're right, she wins.
Now if they're right, she wins. Wow, what a total reversal. And interestingly, we were looking at Kalshi before the election, and Kalshi was only giving her like a 10% chance to win.
But both of us said our guts.
I both said
I'm
my
not
gut
saying
is
she's
telling
going to
me.
win because the Times has been so far off.
Right.
But she certainly has a shot.
I mean, again, we're looking at her at an 85% lead in Nashville versus Harris's 2024 62%.
Wow.
I mean, that's what, a 23%.
And what percentage of Nashville is in?
55% of the
There's
Nashville
a lot of
vote.
votes yet to come from Nashville.
Now, she has slid a little bit. I don't know what votes have come in, but now
Probably that county above Nashville.
Oh,
there.
yeah, Robertson. That's, I think, what happened. He's at 67%.
And Trump was above that.
Let me check Robertson.
I think he was over 70.
He was at 75% of the vote.
Yeah.
So these are fairly good signs for Ben and the Democratic Party.
Wow.
She's slipping a little bit as more of these votes, I think, came in from Robertson, or maybe
What percentage is in from Robertson?
45% of the vote from Robertson County. Wow. That Nashville... I saw
a lot of votes.
We were
come
looking
from
at this
Nashville.
map, and I saw this Nashville circle get much smaller, and I thought, uh-oh, here comes Nashville. And Nashville has come in big for Ben.
Yeah. How did the New York Times have it 57-41?
I don't
with
know.
nothing from Nashville.
I don't know.
So we were right, and the New York Times was wrong. A stern letter to the Times is in order, Sam.
Free Throw Guy donated $10. They say, TNT, truth not tyranny, Lichtmans. Thanks for your service. Well, thank you for your donation.
Thank you, TNT. We love it.
The
All right.
What? Oh, she's gone down 0.1%. He's gone up 0.1%. No big change.
But no more from Nashville.
Let me
Still
check.
at 55, I think.
Nashville is still at 55%.
And
Can she hold this 85%, you think?
Yeah.
Probably not. No, you think she can win
if she
85%?
holds, that's going to be a net of about 10 to 12,000 net more to her once Nashville comes in at 100%.
Mama Brooks says, I love your banter. Whose idea was it for the podcast? Thank you for covering this election. Originally, it was my idea years ago.
No, yes.
No, do you
exactly.
know?
Yes, it was your idea.
I don't even think you knew what a podcast
But it was my idea to cover election night and do a special.
He did say to me the other day, hey, there's a special election in Tennessee. We got to cover that. And I said, oh, definitely. That is true. It was your idea for this election night special.
Wow, this is really getting exciting.
Wow.
It's going to come right down to the wire.
Should we check Kalshi and see what, if any, it has
the
changed?
bets are going to have drastically changed.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to have changed.
I'll bet it's 60-40 or close to 50-50.
No.
No.
She is only at 18%. Oh, she went back down to 16. Wow, there's been a lot of money. You can see here on the left side the amount of money going in. Jay donated $2. He said Kalshi was at 15%, now 20%. Also, Ben, not Ben. Oh, that's
yeah. I'm surprised. It's still 85-15. It was 90-10.
At around, let's see, at around 8:17, she was as high as 32%, and she's gone down, which makes no sense.
No sense.
Okay, but I mean, she's winning.
I'm not saying, the numbers say she's going to win, but they're far more positive than what we thought, which is I don't understand why she's gone down.
44% of the vote in. She's at 52.9%, and he's at 45.9%.
Anything more from Nashville?
He's cut in quite a bit to her lead. I'm guessing, again, it's from
nothing
these
more from
rural
Nashville.
Counties. Nothing more from Montgomery. She's still at 51%. Nothing more from Davidson County, which is Nashville.
What about the county above Nashville, that red one?
Yeah, Robertson.
Nothing more.
Nothing more. He's at
And
67%.
the one below?
Still
Nothing in at
from
all.
Williamson County. No, 0. And in 2020,
Trump was big.
Trump
in
was at
Williamson.
65%.
Yeah, but she may cut that down to
Right.
55
and
or even,
Robertson was even redder. Robertson was 75%.
and what did she get in Robertson?
And he's only at 67% at Robertson. So I don't expect this to be as red as 2024.
No.
Definitely not.
And Nashville, I think, will hold at over 80%.
Really? Oh, over 80. Yes, I agree. I think it will hold at over 80%.
I don't know if it'll be 85, but over 80.
Wow, this is quite amazing.
Yeah, we're coming down to the wire. More votes in.
She's dropping on the Kalshi market. I don't know why, but she's dropping for some reason. Can I tell you a secret, Dad?
Yep.
I bet a couple days ago on her winning on the yes, and I cashed out a couple minutes ago at 30%.
Smart move. Whoa. I got a betting maven here.
A betting maven. So
I don't understand what's going on with this. Do you want to make a bet at her at 7?
let's focus on the show.
Oh, yeah. Good
let's
idea.
Focus on the show. But hey, if you're out there and you use our code for Kalshi right now, I think that she's down to 5%. I don't know what these people are looking at on Kalshi.
I don't either. She's still up by almost 7 with just about half the votes in. I don't get it.
So you really think she can win? Or you're not sure?
I think she can. I'm not predicting it. I think it's going to come down to the wire.
I'm worried about Franklin. He could take a lead after Franklin comes in. But then again, we still have... Oh, it's gone up by 1% in Davidson County, Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why the Kalshi markets are still feeling like
he's going to win.
He's going to win. He's now at 93% to her 7%. Wow. I'll tell you what, she's doing, I think, better than most people expected. He is chipping away at her lead here. He's at 46%. She's at 52%.
I'm not saying she's going to win, but it's going to be way closer than 20%, which it's been historically.
Yeah. I'm trying to check with the chat. Maths OP says it's flipping. Maybe so.
Flipping which way?
I guess he means blue. Like he's saying, I'm seeing a lot of Ben. I'm seeing a lot of blue. It seems like people in the chat are being pretty optimistic about
right.
Ben.
But of course,
right
they're
now.
not a representative.
No.
Look, it's coming to the wire, which, a few months ago, nobody would have expected. They would have thought that the Republicans are going to breeze through 15, 20%.
We got a $10 donation from the Mad Hatter Forever. They say, I've enjoyed your presidential tier list videos. Would you be interested in doing one for the vice presidents? Oh, that's not a bad idea.
That's not a bad idea. By the way, my book is coming out.
What? Another book?
Number 15, Great American Presidents, Aftyn Press, September 2026. Just exactly a year after my previous book came out, which was Conservative at the Core, A New History of American Conservatism. See it right there. It came out in September. I'd greatly appreciate it if you bought the book, read it, and ask me questions about it.
Wow, more books, huh?
Yeah, but, buy this one.
She's down to 4% on the Kalshi markets.
Wow.
She's sinking hard.
I don't know what they're seeing, but...
Someone just donated and said, Professor, tell us about you meeting Lee Atwater.
Oh, so this was April 1982, 3.5 years before the election, or 2.5 years before the election. And I made the call in the April 1982 Washingtonian magazine, my first prediction based on the keys 43 years ago. And I said, How to Bet in 84 was the title of the article, and that Ronald Reagan would be reelected. Now, you may say, oh, that was an easy call. Maybe in retrospect, or maybe in 1984, but not in early 1982. His approval rating was down in the gutter. We were in the midst of the worst recession since the Great Depression. 60% of Americans said he should not run again because he's too old. Imagine that. And the article got a lot of attention, and I'm sitting in my office at American University. I get this call from a gentleman with a deep Southern accent, and he says, Professor Lichtman, this is Lee Atwater calling, political director of the Ronald Reagan White House. We want you to come to the White House. And I'm saying, you sure you got the right guy? He says, yes, we know who you are. So I go to the White House. I spend the entire day there. Turns out Lee Atwater's a history buff, and he wanted to know about Kennedy-Nixon, the Truman whistle-stop campaign. And he introduced me to everyone, every big shot in the Reagan administration, including this tall, skinny guy who I didn't recognize at first until Lee Atwater says, Mr. Vice President, of course you know Professor Lichtman. It was, of course, George H.W. Bush. But Lee Atwater did not invite me there to talk about Kennedy-Nixon or Truman Dewey. At the end of the day, he looks me in the eye and asks me the real question, the question that represents why he really brought me there. He says, Professor Lichtman, you're predicting a Reagan win. What would happen if Reagan didn't run again? Perfectly reasonable question, given doubts about his age and his health. And I'm thinking, oh, the damage. No, I'm going to give it to you straight. According to my analysis, you're down 3 keys. 2-key cushion, a sure win. But look what happens if Reagan doesn't run again. You lose the incumbency key. That's 4. You lose the contest key because Kemp and Bush and Robertson will fight like crazy. That's 5. Incumbent charisma key without the Gipper, forget it. George Bush is about as charismatic as a Paramus shopping center on a Sunday morning. That's 6, and you're out. So if Reagan doesn't run again, you go from almost a sure win to almost a sure loss. Atwater looks me in the eye and says, thank you so much, Professor Lichtman, and the rest is history.
Pretty good story.
Yeah. So she's sinking a bit.
She's sinking a bit. But like no major votes have come in.
Anything from Nashville. That's what matters.
1% more in from Nashville.
Still nothing from that county below Nashville.
Nothing. That's what I think. This county is going to, this is my prediction. This county is going to decide the election.
I agree.
Whatever the margin is, if she can chip into his lead in this county, she's going to win. If it's closer to the Trump results, she's going to lose.
Yeah, and those New York Times things are meaningless.
Yeah, I don't.
They keep shifting.
Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into this.
Yeah. They keep shifting all over the place.
The Nate Cohen, the chief political analyst at the New York Times, made an update 15 minutes ago. They say Tennessee typically reports its early vote first, and Democrats are expected to fare well. In early vote, Republicans outnumbers Democrats by just 6 points among those who had previously voted in a partisan primary, compared to a 22-point edge among those who didn't vote early. Republicans are expected to fare better in Election Day ballots.
That's what they knew that we didn't know.
And her total vote expected is slipping here too as well.
But she still wins if that's right.
What do you mean? Can you explain that?
She wins 51% of the remaining votes.
Oh,
she
you
still
mean
wins.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's up by 4
anything.
points, and if she wins 51% of the remaining votes,
She wins.
she wins by what?
4
or 5 points. Yeah. Wow, this is really coming. This might be the most exciting race we've had since 2024.
Yeah,
it's the
probably.
presidential election. The ones in 2025 were kind of all blowouts.
They sure were.
This one is really coming down to the wire, folks.
Absolutely. Can you put that down?
Should we do a poll? Who do you think is going to win,
Yep.
Ben or Van Epps? All right, let's do a poll. You folks in the chat can decide or can have your opinion heard. Who do you think is going to win, Ben or Van Epps? Let's do a poll. Who is going to win Tennessee 7? Ben, Van Epps. All right, the poll is up. We've got 1,400 likes and 3,000 people liking. Guys, we're trying to get to 2,000 likes.
Yep.
If you haven't liked, make sure to like the stream. The poll is up.
Poll's up. Nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed.
This is really slow.
You think so?
Yeah. It's been almost an hour.
Alex Kawa says, you're reading the remaining votes wrong. They don't have estimates. They're just reporting what's there.
Huh?
I don't know.
What does it say? I can't see
He
it.
says that on this chart, right?
Right.
That we're reading the remaining votes wrong. They don't have estimates. They're just reporting what's there. Then why did it switch so drastically from Van Epps to Ben?
Yeah, I don't quite get
I don't
that.
get what you're saying, Alex. I'm sorry.
Then what's the point of it?
I guess to know how many... How could they know what's there?
Well, that 51-47 is just the votes cast so far. So maybe that's all that they're reporting.
Oh, I'm confused. But
It sure doesn't look like it.
down here it says, it's still early, but our forecast thinks Van Epps has more remaining votes than Ben. But then their chart shows the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
confused.
I think the call is right. Their chart is just, it's very misleadingly labeled. But I think it's just reporting where the votes are at the moment. And then how many are left.
Okay, maybe I'm
think
too
that's
dumb to
right.
follow, but
Yeah. But it sure is misleading.
she is slipping, folks.
Yep.
She is down to 50% of the vote. Let's check Kalshi. She's down to 3% in Kalshi.
Yeah. Doesn't look good.
Really?
No. But what I didn't know is that the earlier votes are votes cast ahead of time, which always favor Democrats more than Election Day votes. That's something the Times and others know that we did not know, how votes were counted in Tennessee. But why then Nashville, which is heavily Democratic, should have a lot of early votes, but it's a slow count?
I guess maybe the big dump was all the early votes, right? Like it went from 0 to 55%. Was that all early votes, you think? Most likely, right?
Most likely, yeah.
Let's see. Our poll is at 68% of our audience thinks that Ben is going to win this thing.
Wow.
I'm still holding strong. I still think Ben has a really good chance to win this.
I think she does too,
It's-
although I wouldn't bet on it.
I don't know why Williamson County is not coming in with any information right now. It's literally all going to come down to this county.
Absolutely.
Williamson. Trump got 65% of the vote.
She's got to get it close to 50.
Really?
Yeah, 55. She can cut it by 10. She has a shot. You can see she's sinking.
She's sinking a little bit. She went down by 0.5%.
Yeah. Well, the votes are coming in real slow now. You know, we were at 44% half hour ago, and now we're only at 47.
So you're saying in Franklin County, she needs to get 55% of the vote?
Yes. Around. I mean, I don't have it calculated. Uh-oh.
What? It has
tied.
up, and you know what just happened?
What?
Franklin County just came in. He is at 55% of the vote, though, right at the target that we just said.
Right at the target. She has a shot.
She has a shot here, folks. It's not impossible. This is huge. Remember, we said this was going to determine the election.
Yes.
He's at 55% of the vote. If she can cut into that at all,
right, although
she
if those
could
are
win.
the early votes, she won't, but who knows? Yeah. And how much of Davidson is left?
Davidson has not
Almost
moved.
half.
Davidson has not moved. Wow, this is really coming down to the wire.
Down to the wire.
He is right now at 0.27% ahead. Am I doing my math correctly? He has just jumped up 0.02% in that. As I was saying that sentence.
But that was after that big dump from a very heavily Republican county that is not doing anywhere close to what Trump was doing.
That, like we said, this is about as realistically as best she could be doing right now after that initial dump.
That's what we said would be her target, somewhere around there.
If she can hold on to this or even dig into this a little bit, I think she can win. If she starts to slip in this county,
she can't.
She would probably be in trouble. He's at 67% in Robertson, and Trump was at 75%.
And what's she at?
And she's at 32% in Robertson County.
Right. So they've cut it down.
Whoa! This is stressful, folks. This is stressful. We just got a donation in. Let me read it real quick. This is from DNA. They say, think Nashville puts her over by 2 or 3 points. Sam, just curious if you got an email. Oh, yes. Thank you, Diego. I did get your email. I appreciate that. Harry Chittenden says, if you've ever seen the history YouTuber Oversimplified, you'll know the line, quote, I didn't lose, I merely failed to win. George McClellan.
The general
from the Civil War.
Civil War general who was a bust as a general and lost by about 10 points to Lincoln in 1864.
Man, this is really getting tight, folks.
Couldn't be much tighter.
Couldn't be much tighter.
Less than a point separating them.
She's at 2% chance to win on Kalshi. So the prediction markets really do not think she's about to win, but it's pretty damn close. I'm sorry, but it's pretty damn close. Yeah. I guess what they must be betting on is the fact that these are early votes that lean Democratic.
Right.
And she's only going to lose ground
in the later votes. That's what they're betting on.
So I'm assuming right now, we have 58% of the vote in. I'm assuming right now it's the vast majority of these votes are early votes. But in these bright red counties, again, they're tiny counties. Wayne County on the border with Alabama has 85% of the vote in. No.
Yeah.
You don't see it? I'm looking at your face, and it seems to me like you don't see it.
Wow. This could not be closer.
Regardless.
It all depends if she holds around 55% in Williamson.
Nashville has gone down in votes in somehow. It was at 56% of votes in, and now it's at 55% of votes in.
Margin of error.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
They probably found some more votes. That happens.
Now, Wayne County is at over 95% of the vote in. Again, it's a tiny county, so maybe
But still.
Perry County is at over 95% of the votes in. Decatur County is at over 95% of the votes in. So these three, I mean, very rural, very red counties, they're done. He's not going to make up any ground in these counties.
How about that light blue county? I can't read what it is.
That's Montgomery County we were talking about earlier. 59% of the vote is in. Last time we checked, she was at 51%. She slipped to 50%. So this might be, he's gone up a little bit more.
But that's because there's still nothing from Nashville.
Still no more votes in from Nashville.
These votes are probably coming in from these finishing up the rural counties.
Yeah, 87% from Houston, only 40. Yeah, we looked at these three southern Nash District counties are done.
How about the fourth one to the east?
That is 75% of the vote in.
Yeah. Those are his strongholds.
Right, but they're also tiny counties.
Right.
I think it'll come down to what happens in Franklin, Montgomery, and Davidson.
No question.
Maybe Robertson, too.
Yeah,
Robertson, Montgomery.
What's the percentage for Robertson?
45% of the vote in. He's still at 67%. I haven't seen that move recently. Gosh, this is really coming down to the wire, folks. He is now...
Here's what we can say for sure.
Okay, say it.
No matter who wins,
right,
this is going to be a huge, huge boost to the Democrats.
Right.
A district that a few months ago was totally written off. 15 to 20% loss. It's down to the wire.
Now, is there any possibility that she can get up to 86, 87% in Nashville?
Anything's possible.
If she does that, it seems unlikely, but I think if she does that, she wins.
I agree.
But like we've been hearing, it seems like the early votes that were in were early votes, which lean Democrats. So the chances are she'll probably slip a little bit.
Yes.
Let's check in with Kalshi. She's at less than 1% on Kalshi right now.
Wow.
I agree her chances of winning are diminishing. I don't think she's out yet. That's me.
I don't think she's out, but I think, the most likely outcome is he wins by a point or two.
Eric says, no, she's not going to get to 87% in Nashville.
I don't think so either.
Probably not.
Probably not.
So really it comes down to these three counties, I think.
4 counties, right.
If she can hold her lead in Montgomery, maybe even get back up to 51, 52%. If she can make any room in Robertson, even a percentage, and same with this, if she can make up a percentage in Williamson.
And hold 85.
But again, it's probably the same logic in these counties.
Yeah.
The initial vote dump was leaning Democratic, so the chances are she's probably not going to gain. She's probably either going to hold or slip.
Right.
And if that happens, she will lose.
Yes.
Look, anything can happen. I would say the math at this exact moment is probably not on her side. Again, I'm basing this all on the fact that they're telling us that these are early votes that came first.
That's the total, right. That's what we're basing it on.
Because that's what this guy, Nate Cohen, is saying. Typically, he reports it's early votes first.
Yes.
Okay, if that's the case,
she's going to lose.
She's going to lose.
Right.
I can't imagine he made a mistake, right?
No. Can't imagine. What's our poll?
Our poll is 67% say Ben is going to win.
Still,
but
how many votes?
I don't think you can change your vote. So I think when she was up, I think a lot of people voted for her.
Right. I mean, she's in striking distance.
Oh, no doubt.
And we understand the early versus the late votes, but anything is possible.
I'm losing a little bit of optimism on her.
Yeah. But boy, is it going to be close.
Now, what if people demand a recount?
That could happen. I also don't know what they do with provisional ballots in Tennessee. Those are ballots cast by people whose registration or ID or something is in question and they then have to decide whether to count them or not. And those heavily favor the Democrats. I don't know if there are, just a few hundred or 1,000 of those. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I mean, in a race, usually those votes don't really matter, but in a race this close, they could really matter.
Anything could matter, yeah.
I imagine provisional ballots are counted last. Usually they are.
They
right?
are almost always counted last.
We are at nothing changed in Davidson County, a.k.a. the city of Nashville. Nothing has changed. She's still at 50% in Montgomery County. He's still at 67% in Robertson County. And he's still at 55% in Williamson.
Nothing's changed.
So we've not seen anything change. If you're just tuning in, our analysis is that these 3 counties, Williamson,
4 counties.
Well, Nashville, something has just changed. 60% of the vote in. He has taken a big leap
jump.
in that. He went up 0.9%. Unfortunately, folks, I think it's over for Ben.
Where did that come from?
I don't know exactly. Still the same
Not
in
there.
Montgomery. Still the same in
Not
Robertson.
there. Not
still
there.
the same. It was, I think, this county, Williamson County.
Yeah, where he went up to 59.
Yeah, he was at 55%, and he just jumped to 59. He was at 55%,
Yeah.
and he just jumped to 59.
I mean, 59 is way better than she had done than Harris
and he
had
has
done.
just taken a massive jump.
Yeah.
It's not looking good for Ben here. Let's see, where did those votes come in from? I think it was from Robertson County. I think he was at 67%, and now he's at 69%.
Yeah. Well, this is what we expect, that the later votes are Election Day votes.
Right,
which
right.
more heavily favor Republicans. That's why you saw on Kalshi overwhelming betting on his winning.
Right. That makes sense.
But he ain't going to win in a landslide.
No. But unfortunately, I think it's over, folks.
I do too. But we're not leaving.
No, we're going to hang out. We're going to see what happens here.
Yeah, it's only 9:05.
Look, anything could happen, but the math is not
Math is
mathing for
bad.
her right now. I just realized that.
He went up even more.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Just realized that part of what I was showing was not on screen.
He went up to a 5.5 point lead.
Yeah, he is. Where are these votes? 69. She's still at 50% in Montgomery County. He did a jump. I don't know where those last votes came in. I don't see any difference in these 4 counties.
Yeah,
maybe,
I'm not sure either.
Maybe in one of these
Could have
counties.
been one of those.
Yeah.
Or a bunch of them.
Darn. And she is slipping. He just went up 0.6%. He just flipped Montgomery County. So she was up 50%. She had 50% of the vote in Montgomery County. He is now at 51%.
Yeah. I'm going to call it.
Okay, so what time is it? At 9:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, December 2nd, 2025. In the Tennessee 7th District special election results, Allan Lichtman has called it for Van Epps.
Yes.
Well, there was a moment there we were excited.
I know, but
there was a
can't
moment
make up
there
6 points.
that we felt like
Almost 7 points.
But I think as we started to think about it a little bit more, think about this update from Nate Cohen about the early votes.
Yeah, we weren't aware of
Yeah, I think we started to realize, the math is not mathing here.
No, she had to be at 55, and was it Williamson? And she's slipped to 59, and she had to be ahead in Montgomery, and she slipped to 47.
She slipped behind. Yeah, Williamson. We said she had to keep it to 55%. She's has not.
No.
And she has now lost the lead in Montgomery County. As more, I guess, day of votes come in, which, in this day and age, lean more Republican. Cal, she is done for. He's at 99% chance to win.
Did we beat everyone in calling it?
I have no idea. I don't know. I haven't been following what other people have called.
I followed it in the New York Times. I did not.
Well, yeah, New York Times here, they haven't called it yet. And he's just tacking on his lead. He just went up 0.3%.
He's not going to win by this much.
No,
He's
because
not going to win by 8 points. because when Davidson comes in, it's going to cut into it substantially, but not enough.
Not enough. There's not enough here in Davidson. And she's already at she's at 85%.
In Davidson?
Yeah.
Looks like 55 to me.
No, I mean, like, she has 85% of the vote. So,
Right.
yeah, it's not going to do a whole lot.
It's gonna make it really close.
Yeah.
You know, if she had held to 55 and held her lead up top there, she had a really good chance of winning.
Yeah, I agree. But it doesn't look like it's in the cards for her.
No.
We'll see if we'll see if Nashville can help her out a little bit.
Oh, it will. It'll help her out a lot.
We're almost at 2,000 likes on this stream. We're at 1,700 likes. So if you go ahead and like this stream, that'll help a lot.
I don't see the AP calling it.
Oh, we definitely beat the AP. I wonder if Decision Desk has called it. Let's see.
Check that out.
Yes, they called it 2 minutes ago.
We beat them. We beat everyone.
Take that, Decision Desk.
Yes. We're always just ahead of Decision Desk.
Yes, Decision Desk. They're quick. They're really quick.
They're the quickest.
Yeah, they're the quickest of, bigger media outlets, because they're not, the bigger media outlets are scared to call elections.
Right. They're still spooked by 2000 when they made the wrong calls.
Right. Yeah, she is not going to win this election.
No. And what turned it was when we learned that the earlier votes were from mail-in and early voting, and the later returns of Election Day, where Republicans are way ahead.
He just went up another 0.2%.
Yeah, what have we got? 2/3 in?
67% of the vote is now in.
Yeah. It's going to be close, way closer than anyone would have thought a little while ago.
Yeah.
Could be under 5 points.
Which again is, I don't know. I don't know if I believe in moral victory. I don't know if I believe in, we almost won. It's
but there is a narrative.
Sure.
There is a narrative, that Democrats cut the lead by 15 points. That's a narrative. Yeah. I don't believe in moral victories either, but, there will be Democrats at least will have a framing. Republicans, of course, will say, we won another seat. We beat those radical lunatic Democrats,
Right.
But Democrats will have a narrative.
Now, so they're just keeping a red seat. So this wasn't they're not flipping a seat. Obviously,
Oh, no,
deep
not
red district.
at all.
So the House will stay. The House was we forgot to mention that the House was in balance in this election, right?
The House was 219 to 213. Now becomes 220 to 213. It'll go down to 219 again early next month when MTG resigns.
Right.
So how much longer do you want to hang in here, Sam?
Let's see. It's 9:11. We've been going for an hour.
A little over an hour.
Let's hang in for another 20 minutes or so.
All right, let's take some questions because this isn't moving very fast.
Right. Okay. This is from member Evan Soloway. They say, has January 6th become America's Tiananmen Square?
I'd say in some ways not as bad as Tiananmen Square, not as many deaths as a result, but in some ways worse than Tiananmen Square. Tiananmen Square was a symbolic demonstration. It had no effect on overturning the regime by itself. On January 6th, there was an attempted coup, an attempt to impede for the first time in over 200 years the peaceful transfer of power and launch a violent coup to overturn a fair, secure, democratic election.
From member Michael Gonzalez, they say, who would you consider to be the most impactful vice president to never become president? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Dick Cheney was certainly up there. The recently deceased Dick Cheney absolutely was one of the most influential. On the Democratic side, probably Al Gore and Joe Biden.
Joe Biden did become president.
Oh, right. I forgot the other part of the clause. Right. Al Gore.
Al Gore. Yeah, that's true. So let me ask you a question about this election. What happened here? Again, we had seemed like a pretty robust Emerson poll saying that it was a 2-point differential.
But that was an outlier.
What do you mean by that?
Most of the other polls had a much larger margin, somewhere around 8 points. So if you averaged it out, it would be somewhere around 5.
Right.
Which is probably going to be close. I think she'll do better than 5.
She is at 8 right now. She's 8.
Yeah, but there's still a lot
down
to come in from Nashville.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Nothing else has come in from Nashville. Montgomery County is now 70% in.
And it's flipped.
It's flipped. These two are about the same that last time we checked.
So I think it'll be under 5 points. So the polls were not too far off. Unless something strange happens and she wins, but we already called it.
She's not going to win. It's not
No, we already called it.
She cannot win. $5 donation from Comic Fan. They say, thoughts on Ronald Reagan's son saying that his father would not like the current Republican Party and Trump.
Oh, Ronald Reagan would certainly not like the current Republican Party. Ronald Reagan mouthed the words of the culture wars of the time, which were not nearly as bitter as the culture wars launched by Donald Trump. But that was never something he was invested in, something he believed in. He just talked the talk. He never prioritized any of the issues of the culture warriors. He'd be appalled by the way Donald Trump exploits religion, racism, misogyny. And Ronald Reagan was welcoming and supportive of immigrants. You know, he did not in any way match the virulent, racist, anti-immigrant rhetoric and policies of the Trump administration. Obviously, in some ways, I talked about foreign policy, and also obviously on tax cuts and deregulation, they would be much more in sync. It's already down to under 5 points.
Yes, Ben has made up some ground as we were speaking. That's because we got another 16% of the vote in, now at 71% of the total vote in from Davidson County, which is part of Nashville City. Her percent lead has decreased by 3%.
As we predicted.
She was at 85%. Now she's at 82. She just went up. No, she just went down a little bit more. So he gained a little bit more. We're back to, we're at 6% now.
6%.
He's a 6-point lead. Davidson County did help her a little bit, but not enough.
No, it can't possibly be enough. There's already, close to 80%?
Yeah, she has slipped a little bit more, I guess, as these other counties are getting in. It's Williamson County, 78%, and he's gained his lead. He went from 55% to 59%, and now he's at 60%.
Remember we said she had to hold at 55 and had to hold close to 85 in Davidson. And what's that one up top?
Montgomery.
And keep her lead in Montgomery. None of that happened.
None of that happened.
Ooh, and we didn't think it would happen. That's why we called it first here on Lichtman Live.
Yes.
We beat everybody in the nation. As we did on election night in New Jersey and Virginia.
And I think we called it pretty early in 2024 as well.
We were first to call it for Trump as much as it pained us.
It's so funny. Everybody thinks, you picked Kamala because you're this, Democrat operative. Again, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any logical sense. But also, why would you be the first one to call it?
Right.
If you were some Demo, you'd probably make excuses.
And why would my first call have been Ronald Reagan?
Good point, Dan. That's all nonsense. I mean, people who say
or
that.
Trump in 2016.
Yeah. She's slipping. She is slipping. 80% of the vote.
Yeah, that's why she's slipping.
From Montgomery County. Still have about, 29% of the vote to go in Davidson.
It's going to knock it down, I believe, below 5%. But nowhere near enough for her to win.
We have 1,900 likes. We're 100 likes away from 2,000.
Let's get there. Please. I'll take more questions.
Really?
If you give me more likes.
Really?
Yes. As tired as I am, I will do it.
Okay, let's get another question in for you. Why did the Shah, who modernized Iran so quickly, still lose the support of so many Iranians? That's a question out of left field.
Because he was a brutal, repressive dictator, even though he did a lot of good things. But he was another example of one of those dictators who we supported. And there was a popular Islamicist revolution against the Shah, who was not an Islamicist and who had repressed his people, despite doing some very good things in Iran.
This is from James LaGruta, a sports question.
I might leave that to Sam.
They want to know. No, it's about your sports. They want to know your thoughts on the current state of the New York Giants.
Oh, my God. How much lower can you go? But, when a team is perpetually, or at least over the long term, stuck in the cellar, it's almost always because they have terrible management. And unfortunately, the slowpoke, clueless owners of the Giants were way behind the 8 ball in cleaning house. They should have gotten rid of this regime wholesale long time ago, instead of doing it piecemeal. First, we'll get rid of the head coach. Then we'll get rid of the offensive coordinator. But we'll still keep everybody else in place. That doesn't work. Still have time. Time to clean house before the draft, which is what, in April?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are primary parties partially to blame for the political divide as they allow party bosses to favor loyalists and unpopular incumbents over independents and newcomers? And should they be abolished?
Should what be abolished? I don't quite understand the question.
I guess party primaries?
No, they shouldn't be abolished. Party primaries were developed in the early 20th century. The first major presidential primary contest was Theodore Roosevelt, the insurgent who had been former president, against his hand-picked successor, who he soured on, William Howard Taft. And this was a blow against the bosses. So even though Roosevelt trounced Taft in the primaries, most delegates were still selected by the bosses, who would be beholden to the sitting president. And so Taft was nominated, and Roosevelt, who was actually more popular, ran an independent campaign, progressive party campaign, sometimes called the Bull Moose campaign, in which he got more votes than the incumbent Republican president, 27% to 24%. So primaries were a blow against boss-controlled delegates. And it wasn't, however, until the 1970s that both parties came around to the view that all delegates, except eventually superdelegates, had to be selected not by the party bosses, but in open primaries or caucuses.
Do you have a favorite cigar?
Yes. Davidson, Winston Churchill.
He's still gaining. Is
he up by how much? 8?
8 percentage points. He was at 8, then he slipped down to like 5, then he went back to 6, and now he's back up to 8.
How much of Davidson is in?
71%. Still hasn't changed since our last update.
And what about the Republican counties?
Like these ones? I mean, these are all done.
The bigger ones, yeah.
78%, I think that's the same as last time we checked.
And up top there?
Montgomery County, 86% of the vote in.
And the one to the right?
70% of the vote in.
Yeah. She may not get to 5%.
Yeah.
I think she will, but it's touch and go.
It's going to be close. She might be at, I think 6 is a safer bet.
But still, it's not 20.
Yeah,
so everyone will have a narrative on this.
Yeah, don't forget that, Trump destroyed in this district last time.
Yeah, 20 some odd points. All right, let's take a few more questions, and then it's kind of over.
Over.
Just a matter of what the final percentage will be.
Right. Let's see. I think we're out of questions from the members. So
how about donors?
And donors. So I'll give a...
So make a donation and you'll go right to the head of the class.
If you're not a member or a donator and you want to ask a question, I'm staring at the chat. So I'm giving a free question out right now to whoever asks a good question here. You don't have to donate right now. You don't have to become
But it would help.
Yeah, if you want to, you could. But someone just said that MS Now, Steve Kornacki, they just called it for Van Epps.
Oh, a day late and
Day
$1
late.
short.
Yes. Let's see.
They should have been filming us. We would have given them much better analysis than anyone else.
NBC just called it.
Way behind us. Forget about it.
I'm looking for a good question right now.
All right. Maybe it's time to sign off then. It's only a matter of, what the margin's going to be. And whether it's 6, 7, 5, doesn't make much difference. I don't think it's going to stay at 8. And we also told him what the benchmarks had to be and explained that when she came behind the benchmarks, that's why we called it.
Here's a question. Have there ever been any presidential candidates who died on the campaign trail?
Not a major party candidate, no.
I actually have a question from one of our family friends. Let's see. Do you think that Trump's grip on the Republican Party is slipping as he moves further into his lame duck period?
It hasn't slipped much. Slipped a little bit. He's gone from like 90% to 84%. Most Republicans are still kowtowing to him. So it slipped. And the question is, will it continue to slip or will he right the ship? And my opinion is it will continue to slip.
Okay, with that, we will wrap up Lichtman Live for this evening, special edition Lichtman Live. As we sign out here, we have already called it a
long time ago. What time did we call it?
9:02, I think I said. We called it about 20 minutes ago. We have called Matt Van Epps the winner of Tennessee's 7th District special election. As we sign off, 81% of the vote in. He has 53.5% of the vote. Ben has 45.5% of the vote in. He's got an 8-point lead as we sign off. We think it could go down to, I think, maybe 6.
6, yeah, maybe. I don't think much below that. Not nowhere near 20. That's all I can say. And remember, we beat everyone in calling this.
Remember.
And we gave you the benchmarks, too. Didn't just pull it off the top of our head.
A good outing for Ben, a good messaging for Dems, but, I don't know if I believe in moral victories. They lost.
Everyone's going to have a narrative coming out of this.
Yeah. What's your narrative?
My narrative is, I'll give you the two-party narratives. Republicans see we defeated this lunatic left-winger. We padded our margin in the House. You can squawk all you want. No such thing as a moral victory. The Democrats will say we performed way beyond expectations. We cut by either 2/3 or 3/4 the typical Republican margin in a deep red district. And when we get to districts that are closer, the swing districts, they're going to decide the composition of the House. We're very confident of victory. Those are the two narratives.
Right. Makes sense. All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in to the Lichtman Live Special Edition Tennessee 7th District Special Election Results.
Did we get 2,000 likes?
We got 2,000 likes.
All right. Thank you so much.
2,093 likes, so thank you all. so much. We just got a donation in. What are your plans for the keys in the future? Stay tuned, and you'll get an answer to that.
I have a lot of time to
maybe the next
think
few
about
years.
that.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you very much, and good night.
Good night. See you Thursday.